Welcome back to Divas. One mic.
Hey.
Second episode.
Yes. So, we gotta listen. We need to find our people. We gotta find our people.
Okay.
We gotta find our people.
Okay.
Which means we've gotta let them into our world.
Oh Lord. Okay.
That's right. We gotta. Because listen, how else we gonna help the people unless we put all of our stuff on Front Street? This is listen.
Who gonna help us?
We gonna we gonna help each other. Is we gonna all, what I'm saying, just put it all out there, and we're gonna take this journey together.
Okay.
Okay? Because we're gonna learn from each other's mistakes. We're gonna learn that there are similarities. We all have gone through a lot of the same things, things like that. And it's gonna get deep, but there's layers to this. We gotta slow walk them. Although I think when we share some of the stuff we've been through,
it's gonna take them right on through. It's not gonna be no slow walk.
Yeah.
So okay.
I agree. So who want to go first?
You.
Okay. All right. So where can I start? So just sharing some of the highlights of my life. So just everybody kind of getting to know me. I am a 52-year-old mother of 5, and my kids' ages are 32. I also have a 25-year-old, a 24-year-old, a 21-year-old, and an 11-year-old. So I always say that my 11-year-old is my love under new management baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I was married previously for 16 years. And I would say that I was probably unhappy for about 14 of those years. Now, what I have found when I have talked to people like in my current profession as an intimacy consultant, when I bring this up and I talk about my marriage and my divorce, there are a lot of women that relate to my story.
Okay.
So for me, I always liked the bad boys.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't grow up in the hood. I didn't grow up in that lifestyle. But I grew up in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
But my life partner now always talks about the fact that I always wanted to go on the other side of the tracks. Because the other side of the tracks is where, it was alluring, it was exciting, it just, and I'm, again, the Sag in me, I'm adventurous, right? And I like a challenge, all of that. I have a strong personality. I'm an alpha female. So I need a little rah-rah in my life. So I used to date the bad boys, but the bad boys were exactly that. They were the bad boys in every sense of the word. And the one thing that it drove me nuts was that they were always unfaithful. So a lot of infidelity when it came to the bad boys. And so I got tired of that. And I happened to meet this guy, and he shall remain nameless. But I met this guy, and he was cute, but he wasn't my type. I met him at a club. I met him at the Classics nightclub in Maryland. For all my Maryland, my DMV peeps, y'all remember the Classics nightclub over there by Andrews Air Force Base, okay? And I met him there. I was hanging out with one of my girlfriends back then. The one that I had mentioned was my second best friend, the one who really wasn't my friend, that one. So we were together, and this guy, he asked me for my number. And I didn't want to give him my number, but there's been a thing with women, which is a thing that we should talk about as well, that when you don't want to give your number, you shouldn't get disrespected because you don't want to give your number.
Exactly.
And a lot of men will disrespect women.
Yep.
There have been women even lately that have been killed or hurt because they refuse to give a number.
Right.
So I didn't want to be that girl, to not give up my number, not because I was afraid, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings. And so, but I was like, if I yell it out, maybe he'll get the picture that I don't really want to give it, and he'll be like, oh, to hell with her. So I yelled out my number, and he joked later to say, oh, you thought I wasn't writing that number down. I was writing it down.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he was writing it down. And so, he ended up calling and talking to me, and I was like, oh, he seems like a really nice guy. I was like, I'll hook up with him. He seemed like a nice guy. And so I think our first date, wasn't really a date, but I think I went to his house, went to his apartment, and we just kind of listened to music, and we had some drinks, and we fell asleep on the couch together. I fell asleep in his arms. He didn't try anything with me, which was different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. Now, mind you, the crazy thing is in his apartment, he had pictures of naked women everywhere.
Dang.
Like every door you open, it was like centerfold, wide open legs and all the things,
Oh
everything.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
if you open up the kitchen cabinet, it was like all of it was weird.
Not in the cabinet.
Every door you opened, you saw
About to
this.
eat now.
Yeah. Right. So that was weird, but like I said, he didn't try anything with me. He was a perfect gentleman, and I kind of like that, right?
Okay.
So then we found out that we were going to the same cabaret. So back then, cabarets were big. So it was no more house parties, and
Right.
people weren't really clubbing. People were throwing cabarets, right? So you could be the promoter of this cabaret. So we found out we were going to the same cabaret. I'm going with my girls. He's going with his guys. So we're not going together, but I'll see you there.
Right.
Right. When I tell you that this Negro would not leave my side once he saw me at this cabaret, and it was annoying. I was like, I'm here with my girls and I'm partying and having a good time, and he's following me around like a little puppy dog. It was annoying. Okay. So that, just to give you an idea, he was that kind of person that he was very attentive. He was giving me all the things that women claim they want, right? I want somebody that's going to put me first. I want somebody that is, not going to be afraid to show me off that I'm their woman. He was calling me all the time. He always responded to my calls and texts. And I found myself like, this guy, like, it wasn't attractive to me. But I will never
Because
forget.
he was a good.
Because he was a good guy.
dude.
Yeah, because he was a good dude, right? Stupid, okay? So we were driving down Benning Road, and we were passing this place called the Chateau. I'm naming these places for all my DMVers. And I'm like, oh, I know the Chateau. And I was saying to myself, I'll never forget, I was like, you're always saying that you want a man to treat you like a queen. And here this guy is doing this, and you don't like him. Like, what is wrong with you? You need to like him. This is me talking myself through this. You need to like him. So I made myself like him because of the things he was doing. But there was never really an attraction to him, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So there was never an attraction. And so fast forward, 6 months later, we were getting married.
Ooh.
Yeah. We were getting married.
Okay.
Now, I was actually still in a marriage to my first husband, which was my oldest son's father, who was a big time drug dealer, drug kingpin. And, so I was married to him and never just, I didn't think I was going to get married right away. So I didn't worry about getting divorced. But here I am 6 months into this relationship, getting ready to get married. So I had to rush through to the courthouse and go before the judge and get this divorce done so that I could marry this guy. Now, this guy had some anger issues. He was very violent, but he never put his hands on me, but he was violent, like he would break stuff. He was very jealous. He was very possessive. And all of those things were unattractive, right?
But you still married him.
I still married him, right? Like, and I wonder if, when I think back, if he did a lot of those, he did a lot of those things before we got married. I believe so, before we got married. He'd like punch out the windshield of the car. Like, we're in the car one day and he punches out the windshield. I forget, he was jealous or something. Somebody called me or texted me or something, but he would drink a lot. So he drank beer. Like he would, and this guy was small framed. He would drink a case of beer like it was nothing. And and when I think back, I'm just like, why didn't you see that as red flags? But I think it was,
You did. You just, what was it about him that made you want to?
I think at that time it was security, because I was in a transition from my apartment to my sister's house, because again, I had left my my first husband. He had gotten deported back to Jamaica. Then he came back and I kind of just was like over it. So this guy, like, I went from this lifestyle where we had all this money, and then now I don't have anything. This guy has an apartment. I don't have anything. So it's like, he's nice, and also he's my security now. Now I got a place to be. Now that I'm talking this out, it's just like, you just...
What the hell was I thinking about?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so fast forward, we got married. He's very violent. I will never forget one day, he took a bowl, like a ceramic, like cereal bowl, and broke it over his head. Now, those things don't break easily because it's small, for one.
What was the purpose? He was pissed off at you or
I
pissed
think
off at something?
he was pissed off at me because I think that I was talking about like not being with him. Like these violent outbursts were just
That's why people
unattractive.
wake up dead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was just like, if I can't have you, then let me just die. And he took this thing and he had to hit himself a few times to get it to break. And when he got it to break, he bust his head wide open. And it's like blood is gushing out, meat out the top of his head and blood. He did this and laid down in the bed. And blood is just pouring down his face. And he says, if I can't have you, then let me just die. This was some crazy stuff. Like he was doing this stuff. And it was just like, I also felt bad for him. He didn't put his hands on me. So that's the justification. Like he's not hitting me. So it's okay for me to stay. Like he needs me. Like I'm a fixer and I'm also an empath.
Oof.
Yeah. And so talking him into going to the hospital and all that kind of stuff. So this was kind of like, it was a battle, like spiritually, he was a Muslim, I was a Christian. Like we had a bunch of different dynamics that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up eventually working through them, but I never was attracted to him. I never had that feeling, just being so in love with him. It was more like I was an enabler for his behavior. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then when he eventually ended up changing religions, he went from Muslim and he came over to Christianity. I was hanging back out in the street by this time. I was like, I'm over it. I'm done. And I'm back out in the streets, and he running to the church now, telling my pastor on me, oh, she in the street, she doing this, she doing that. And so it was like I was trying to live this wholesome lifestyle, and he was acting crazy. And then because of that, I ran into the streets, and then he started getting it together. So yeah, it was
and
just.
Then it flipped.
Yeah, then it flipped. So then everything came together. We was in the church and church family and all of that, but I still wasn't attracted to him. So I found myself always trying to force the marriage, trying to force the romance, taking trips and, dressing up and doing different things and just to try to spark something, and it never actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
But we started having children. And it's, as a woman, once you start having children with someone, then now there's a family,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to break up the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed for 16 fucking years of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, I do.
and then even when, and just to not drag the story out because it's so much to cover, but even when I finally got out of the marriage, I still felt the guilt of leaving him because he didn't really do anything wrong per se. He needed some help, but he didn't really do anything wrong to me. I felt like it was just like he loved me. He worshiped the ground I walked on. He was a great father. He was a hard worker, all the different things, And so I just felt this guilt. And one of my friends, actually the same woman who was at the club with me when I met him,
Mm-hmm.
said to me the one thing that set me free. And she said, Angie, she said, yes, he is a nice guy, or maybe he was a nice guy. She said, but he just wasn't your guy.
That's the thing. And we don't I know for me, there's been red flags hitting me in my face. And I'm all like you, Capricorn, I think I can fix him.
Mm-hmm.
I can make him better. I can help him. I can elevate him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all for the wrong reasons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you get in these relationships and they go crazy.
Yeah.
They cheat. They talk crazy to you. They disrespect you. They do all of these different things. And then you wake up one day, like 16 years later, like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where was I these last 16 years? You've been in this fog trying to make a situation work when you knew at the beginning the situation wasn't going to work. What do we do? How do we stop that? How do we help young girls when they start meeting these guys that's coming to them with money and cars and taking them on trips? I had a guy that I met online. First thing he said was, "Meet me in Atlanta. I'm gonna fly you to Atlanta." That does not impress me anymore.
Mhm.
See, I'm a different person than I was at 20. I probably would have been like, "Whoa, let me get on this plane,"
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at 50, I'm or 50-ish plus, right? My mindset is different.
Yeah.
But how do we talk to these young girls at 20 and 30 so that they don't waste their lives with men that don't even deserve them?
By sharing our experiences like what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
And it all goes back to self-worth, right? Like if you have low self-worth, if you have low self-esteem, if you're not confident about who you are, and I wasn't, even though
Right.
to everybody else it seemed like I was, but I grew up in my household as what I consider to be the ugly duckling of the family.
And was your father there too?
My stepfather raised me from the age of 2. My biological father was not a part of my life actively,
Mm-hmm.
although I did know who he was and I did spend some time with him. But,
Do you think that that was a part of the reason why you made bad choices?
absolutely, 100%. 100%. Daddy issues, definitely have daddy issues.
Absolutely.
Because even when you have a step in parent in your dynamic, you still will always yearn for the biological parent because there's a different type of connection there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so when you don't have that, you do make those poor choices. And this is one thing, and this might be a controversial opinion of mine, but I know that I hear people all the time say, I love him or her like they're my own. I say with everything that is within me, it's not possible.
I don't understand that statement. I love him like he's, what do you
Your
mean?
child. So if you're raising somebody else's child, if you are adopting someone's child or you're raising a stepchild, there is a difference in, like, for me, I feel like it's natural and instinctive to be a certain way with someone that is a part of you. Someone that is not a part of you, I believe you do it with intention, but it doesn't come naturally.
See, I agree and I disagree only because in my last situation, my ex brought in different, four kids,
Mm-hmm.
four different moms,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I only truly established a relationship with two of the four kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? He didn't have a relationship at all with one of the kids.
Okay.
So the one of the children, in my mind, I thought that I loved him and cared for him as much as I did my two girls,
Mm-hmm.
right? The youngest one, which was it was one of his only girl.
Mm-hmm.
It took me longer to establish a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't necessarily because I think just because she wasn't my biological, it was just that we didn't have anything in common initially. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? There was no common ground. She
But with your own, you don't have to even have that.
and but I didn't feel like I had to do that with the boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't feel like initially but what I found out in this whole scenario is that I put way more into it all
Mm-hmm.
than I got back. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was easy for me for him because maybe it's because I wanted a son,
Right.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like he was my stepson,
Right.
right? I felt like he was my son. And even with the daughter, I got to a point to where I felt that she was mine,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't treat her any different. I'm going to get in your butt,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like I would my two, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to support you. I'm going to do for you. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to do all of those things. And there is no um unlevel ground like I'm gonna do this for my two, but I'm gonna be this for them too. No, it was this for me for both, right? But it's like
Do you think that's the fixer in you though?
that
Because
is absolutely the fixer in me.
yeah,
I came into it trying to fix
yeah,
the relationship between him and his kids,
yeah. There you
right?
go.
And I'm thinking that if I do more, right, and if I be the bigger person or
Yeah.
be the parent, parent,
Mm-hmm.
right, then it would be better for everybody. And it wasn't my job to do that.
Gotcha.
It wasn't my job to do that.
Yeah. No. 100%. Yeah. So Yeah, that situation. So I learned from that, grew from that, but I'm still growing.
Yeah,
I'm still
absolutely.
growing. Yeah, I
I'm
just
I think I will go into my next relationship with people who have children, still wanting to be the essence of who I am, but I'm just gonna do it different, I think, this time. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And I think too, when going into a relationship, when you see that there are flags, red
Mhm.
flags, immediately
Get out.
in the relation,
Get out.
run.
Get
Like,
out.
because it's not, it really isn't worth it. If he's and like the old people say, when someone shows you who they are the first time,
Believe
believe them.
them. That's
Don't
Maya
allow them
Angelou.
to show
Yeah.
them show you 2, 3, 4, 12 times who they are. When they show you the first time that they're not who you want to be with, the person that you feel that you want in your life,
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
and be okay with being by yourself.
Yeah. But I think people are so broken that they're willing to accept brokenness in others.
But that's the thing. You gotta fix you.
Yeah.
You can't go into a going into a relationship broken, thinking that you gonna put all the pieces together for somebody else when it's half of you going into the relationship.
Yeah. And that goes back to, black people especially not really believing in therapy. Like growing up, like it was keep everything in the house and you don't tell people your business, right? And therapy is now people are much more accepting and, look at it like it's a good thing. Everybody needs therapy. But imagine if we would have gotten that therapy so long ago. Like I'm a sex abuse survivor. And so that's another thing as well that has to do with the relationship that I got into as well. Not even just the daddy issues,
Right.
but people who are sexually assaulted, they can become promiscuous, because that's the way that they feel that love is.
And is that because you never got the help
Oh,
that you needed when
oh
you
yeah.
went through that trauma?
Oh yeah. I've never been to therapy in regards to being sexually assaulted. Never. Now, my children who have also lived that have been, where at least one of my daughters has, but well, actually two of them. And that cycle, that's a whole nother conversation. That cycle just repeats itself, it seems like, through families because it's almost always someone within the family that is the
Yes,
perpetrator.
the abuser.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So enough about me.
Well, I don't even know if we have enough time for me, but because that
So-
was a lot,
I
sis.
know, and
That
it's
was a
still
lot to
not even the
unload.
half.
And I
Yeah.
don't even want to unload to make the people, because my situation, a lot of people don't know about me. I was in a relationship, in my first relationship, he was murdered.
Really?
I know
I
we've been
didn't
friends.
know
Yeah,
that.
he was murdered.
Wow.
By a friend. Went out and with a friend and stopped at a store. There was an argument. The guy went to the car, got a gun, started shooting. Everybody ran. He got shot in. It went through his back and through his side. And instead of the people that was there with him, his friends,
Mm.
supposedly friends, calling nine in the store, calling 911 because they were at a convenience store.
Hmm.
They took him down the street to a school and left him,
What?
and he bled out.
Get out now. Your first relationship or first marriage?
First marriage.
First marriage. Wow. My oldest son's father was also murdered. I don't know if we had talked about that.
No.
We weren't together at the time, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were together. We were together,
Wow.
and that was a hard pill to swallow because you know, he lived, the guy that did it lived in the neighborhood. He lived in his mom's neighborhood. Like they all went to school together. They grew up together. So it wasn't like, oh, it was this, it was just random person. They grew up together.
Wow.
Yeah. And he turned himself in and did a few months in jail and everybody that was there that witnessed what happened disappeared.
So how? What?
Nope.
What do you mean disappeared?
Nobody was able to testify what happened,
What?
even though they saw it. So he got out.
So how did
and
you
he
how did you
moved
handle
back
that?
into the neighborhood on the next street from my then husband's mom and dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you
So you talk
handle
about
that?
it was a difficult, very difficult situation for me to go through. I
You guys have
didn't
children together?
we did not
Okay.
we did not have any kids together. Thank God, we didn't have any kids together, but and we hadn't been married long. We had just gotten married.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And
Man.
then, I went through that situation and, thinking that I'm good and, I think I didn't take the time out. That's why I
To
say
heal.
now, that's why I tell my clients as a grief coach, like you need to take the time out to get to know who you are,
Right.
right? You need to do the work on you before you go out and try to be with someone else,
Right.
right? Or even try to attempt to communicate and have a relationship with someone else. And I don't think I did the work. I didn't do the work. I met someone, wasn't a great relationship, and broke up with him. And then I met my ex, and I thought I was in a good place. I
Yeah.
was living life. Financially, I was in a good place. I had
Yeah.
my own home, own cars. Doing my own thing, and I met this guy who was going through a situation, and I thought I could fix it.
There it is.
I thought I
Oof.
could help him.
Why are we like that?
I don't know, but I know I ain't like that no more because I don't. You could be broke all the way. Now I'm gonna help you if you come to me as a client. I'll
Uh-huh.
help you.
Uh-huh.
But if I meet a dude and you broke and I'm gonna be like, dude,
Listen, I heard Taraji P. Henson say that recently, and she was
I don't
like,
want nobody's broke son.
"Yep,
Nobody's broke up son. I do not want that. I
yeah,
do not want someone's broken son.
yeah,
And I don't want us to heal together. I
yeah,
need to be healed 100%
mm-hmm,
before I get with you.
yeah." That is so smart, man. If more people could do that, we'd have less divorce.
Less divorce.
We'd have less.
And stop jumping into relationships. Why we gotta meet the person today and marry them tomorrow? I don't want to be married no more. How about we just gonna live together?
Oh gosh. Well, why you gotta live together? Why you can't just date? Because those situations work out really well.
But this is the thing.
Absence of the heart
we gonna
makes
date for a long time
Yeah.
before we even move in together. But once we get to a certain point in the relationship,
Yeah.
we can move in together. But that's gonna be it. Like
Well,
Jesus is gonna say, Latrice. No, he gonna say Linda Latrice.
oh Lord.
You need to marry this dude before I marry somebody.
Wow. Well, Cheryl Lee Ralph admitted, I don't want to say admitted, but she let the people know that she's been in a 20 something year marriage with a husband that they don't even live together. They live in totally different states.
No, I did not know.
Oh,
that.
yeah. And she said that it works well for them. So, I mean, we will never know because it's not our business, but it makes me wonder, like, are y'all really together? Are you his beard? Like, what's happening? Because, I mean, 20 something years and she said, and it works for me. You know how she talk. I love her. It works for us. And she's like, yeah, 20 something
But
years.
how does that work for you?
Yeah.
How
don't
does that
know.
work for you?
I don't
You
know.
spending days on you having virtual sex. Like I'm trying to understand how that work. Like
Yeah.
what do you on FaceTime, you on Google Meet, like
Yeah.
and you having like
And it wasn't a situation where she said, like, part of the year because of their careers that they live, and they have 2, 3, 4 houses together. No, it's he live over there and I live over here.
but
And
you
this how
weren't
we like
married.
it.
But why are we married then?
Yeah, it's a good question.
What's the reason for the marriage? I guess mine would be my question. Like
Yeah.
what's the reason for us to go ahead and get married if you're gonna live in another state, I'm gonna live in another state, and we just gonna be together when we together?
Yeah.
Why be married? Just be life partners.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
That's why I
saying?
said I wonder if she's his beard. Don't get mad at me, Cheryl Lee Ralph, but I mean, there are a lot of situations like that in Hollywood where one person is not able to live their truth. So it's the husband is gay or the wife is gay and they don't want society to know, so they pretend to be a couple. Just like our girl, what my speculation is on Miss Britt on Housewives.
Girl, that helpful.
I
Oh
do
my
not-
God.
I
don't
do
even
not
know who
like
the
her.
casting agent was that casted her on this. I understand they wanted to do a revamp, rebranding, or whatever. A lot of the originals left, and the situation with Kenya, but why was she even there, Ike? Why was she
Yeah.
here, Ike? That's the question.
Wait, Ike?
Ike, that's what the lady asked asked Ike when she came in
Yeah,
the room,
yeah.
and she had the gun and she put it to Tina's head, and then she ended up going in there shooting herself. And she said, "Why is she here?
Oh,
Ike?
yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Why? Why is she
Jeez.
even on
Bring
the show?
Kenya back.
Please bring Kenya
Bring
back.
Kenya back.
I would even rather for them to bring Kim Zodiac back.
I know, and she
than
probably need to come
have-
back. They
she
need the
probably
money.
do because she need
They
the
need
money.
the money.
But my thing of it is have someone that's gonna bring some realness. There was nothing about this girl. She lied. She was fake. She put on she was nothing about her was real.
And what happened? You were saying something about the episode that happened recently. They did, and I saw bits
Are you
and
talking
pieces.
about when they went to the country
club and high heels on the golf course?
High heels on the golf course. The white people looking at them like they crazy.
Yeah.
And then they go back and then they sit down. And then when they sit down, they ain't got no food. They got the food for the cast, but ain't got no food. And the only reason she provided food for the other table was because they were all bloggers and she knew that they were going to talk about it. But then come to find out from talking Millichan said that the people, Millichan, the blogger,
Millichan?
girl, you gotta listen to her. Millichan, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, chick, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, sis. But she was like, they sued the husband because they didn't pay for the food. She didn't reserve. Like, why even go? Don't stop perpetrating. If you ain't, I ain't got no money. Okay, I'm just living real modest.
You can't say you don't have money. You have to say you don't have access to all your funds right now.
I'm living real modest right now.
Okay,
I'm living real modest right now. I am not trying to be something that I am not. This is where I am in my life right now. I'm working on doing things differently, and I'm okay. And this is the thing. With me not having as much finances as I've had before, I have more peace in my life.
Okay.
This is crazy.
I can see that.
It's absolutely bananas. I would be blissful if I had the finances, but I am so peaceful now.
Yeah.
Crazy. But stop acting like you got some money and you ain't got no money trying to come on. Just say I need to be on this reality show because I need some money, and do that, say that, act like that when you come on a reality show.
How much are they getting paid for her to not be able to pay?
They ain't getting paid that much when you first go on reality shows. You ain't making that much money.
Well, they need to not be in them big old houses they're renting and driving those fancy cars.
Like Portia. Portia had to rent a house because she couldn't record in the house. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't record in the house because
Simon just got deported.
Well, then he back though.
No.
Yes, he's
no.
back.
He just got deported. He just got out of jail.
He was just doing an interview with Will Smith's ex-wife.
When?
They just had it on the social media last week.
I'm going to have to Google this. He just got deported because, look, they're saying that Portia won big because she's supposed to be getting $40,000 a month. He's in Nigeria. She's not getting anything.
Oh, Lord. So he was doing these interviews. Maybe they allowed him to come back and got him out of ICE because he said he was in ICE. They
ICE sent him back.
So but then he came back and he was doing a interview with, what's her name? Cherie and Zim. Will Smith's first wife.
Oh, yeah, Sherry or Cherie, something like that.
Or whatever. He was doing an interview with her. Yes.
Listen.
I'm telling you, we got to read up on it.
Hold
if y'all know what I'm talking about, let us know. Let's put it in the comments. But yes.
They said he was deported 3 days ago.
Oh, so he just got redeported.
That's what I'm saying. Deported back to his home country after spending months at a detention center. U.S. Weekly reported that exclusively 3 days ago.
Okay.
And they're saying that Portia is getting $40,000 a month child support.
Yes,
she gets to keep the house. She's not going to get that money. He's in Nigeria. His money is not over here in the U.S. Whatever money he has, it is in Nigeria, and she's going to get zero. That's the thing we got to talk about. These women that are this is a business for them now. They are marrying to be able to having babies so that they can be financially stable instead of getting their own money, get to the bag on their own. Women, you can do it on your own. You don't need to go and, marry for money.
Yeah.
I'm like, Lord Jesus. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not enjoying, and that's why I'm really kind of behind on watching Housewives because I'm not really enjoying the people.
So this season was the worst season that I've ever seen with Housewives.
I agree.
It's to the point to where I really don't want to watch it. Kelly, she's grown on me. Kelly has kind of grown on me.
Kelly, which one? The one
Kelly
with
is the little short one. Kelly's the one.
Her plastic surgery job is horrible.
Okay. Oh.
I need her to go back to natural. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Because these women look so beautiful without all the surgery, without all the makeup. And then you see them with the surgery and the makeup and they look like fucking clowns. Why? See, that goes back to, again, us low self-worth, the trauma, we're not being told that we're beautiful and we're thinking that we've got to alter our looks. And it's not to our benefit because they're looking crazy.
Yeah, they looking like clowns out there.
Ugh.
No disrespect, Kelly, but yeah, you're right. I have to agree with you. But I was saying, I like her. I love Shamia.
I love
Shamia.
I'm kind of side-eyeing Shamia
Well,
right
no,
now.
I like Shamia because this is my thing. She tell the people what they supposed to hear. And I think that she loves Portia so. Sometimes you love someone so much and you try to be there for them. You allow them to do things. You allow them to use you sometimes. And I really believe Portia is jealous of what Shamia has going on.
100%,
right?
100%.
So I really do like her. Now look, I love Cynthia. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Cynthia. But why is she here, Hype? Why is she here? She's the mother. I guess she's just the mother.
She's a mother.
She's the mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
MUVA, mother. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Angela.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
I like Angela.
I like her.
And Drew. See, Drew, I need you to get Ralph out the basement. I need you to tell the truth. Stop lying, because it's so hard for you to be credible.
But why am I the only one that thinks that she's not lying? Why
So
does everybody
I think
say
that there's
she's lying?
points. I think that there's points of things that she says that she does not tell the truth. I think she tell bits and pieces of the truth. But my thing of it is this, and we gotta go. So I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let it go. I think Ralph is a bitch. Right?
The bitch assness in Ralph.
I'm gonna be, because
He
this is my thing.
He is.
If you decide that you don't want to be with your woman,
Get
right,
your ass out the basement.
leave.
Yeah.
If you doing so well
Yeah.
as a businessman, leave.
Yeah.
Go get your place. Do like most people. Have the kids to come visit you at your place, and let the other and the kids be at home with the mom. And do like what most people do when they divorce. There's no reason for you to be in the basement.
What does he do?
And I don't know what he does, but try to go after all of her money and all of her businesses and things that she had prior to him.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's a bitch move.
Yeah.
I think that you should make a decision. If you, whoever cheated, ask for what you want to ask for.
Negro
and
know
go.
he cheated.
He cheated.
Yeah.
But he's always throwing what he thinks Drew did. He's throwing receipts. Put the receipts for the Tampa trip out, bitch.
He's
Put
deflecting.
see,
yeah.
God dang
See,
it.
the men want to be kept now too. Look, you're right. He is. You a little bitch. Look, I've never liked him.
And
though.
I said that I was not going to curse on this show. I said I was going to.
Who you
I
lying
said that I was going to do my best.
Okay, now that sounds better.
Not to curse on this show. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
But
Listen.
he's the miash.
Yeah, I'm not liking the season. I am loving The Shy.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about The Shy.
You watching The Shy?
Oh yes, that
and
is my show.
BMF is back in the building. 50 Cent. Shout out to 50 Cent. Do you watch his shows?
So I don't watch BMF, but
Mm-hmm.
I watched Ghost. I watched the one with Tyreek
Raising Kanan.
and Raising Kanan. I watched Tommy.
Power Force. I like that one.
But I haven't been able to really get. And I've tried to watch. With a BMF.
Yes.
I've
Black
tried to
Mafia
watch
Family.
it twice. And just couldn't really get into it. But I'm going to try to watch it again.
Okay.
I'm gonna do. Look, if I can watch BMF, you can watch Beyond the Gates.
I know, and my bro is on the show.
And you have a brother that's on the show, and you still have not watched it.
It's
now, when
so
I
many
tell
episodes.
you it's 68, but you should have started watching it at the beginning. I missed the first 10 episodes, and I only watched one. I started watching that first one. I got hooked the first episode.
Yeah.
And I watched 10. And now at 4 o'clock, because I think it comes on at like 2, but it drops on Paramount at 4, at 4:05, 4:10. I'm sitting there watching it. I'm watching it. I'm telling you, it's
Gosh.
good. It is
Okay.
good.
All right. I'm going to try to watch it. Okay. And
All
so
right.
before we get out of here, we can't leave without talking about Diddy. Okay.
Why, Jesus? Why?
What do you think?
I don't think nothing.
You don't think nothing?
I don't think nothing.
Do you think he's going to go to jail, or you think he's going to get off?
I think he should go to jail.
Why?
If all of the things that they said that he has done,
Okay.
I think he should go to jail.
Okay.
Point blank in the period.
Yeah. But what about Epstein and them?
Well, this is
And
my
them.
question.
Epstein and them. What
Okay,
about
so they
them?
got all of these people coming out, right? They got all of this. What's the name that came out? The girl from the show. I mean the group. Where is Farnsworth Bentley?
Girl,
Where is Farnsworth?
Farnsworth is enjoying his life
Where
with
is
his
he
wife.
at? Because he got all of the secrets. Where is he? Nobody, even on Breakfast Club, at least I haven't heard them say anything about Farnsworth. Where is he?
It's a lot of people that could be testifying that they haven't called.
But
That's
girl,
why I say
he was his right-hand man for a long time. You ain't gonna sit there and tell me that he don't hold all the secrets.
yeah, he know where the bodies are buried, I'm sure. But there are a lot of people that know where the bodies are buried, and they're not bringing them out intentionally, I guess. But I'm just like, listen, I agree.
Well, look, let me tell you, if it's my body or their body, I'm gonna choose my body.
I know that's right. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at. I'm not mad at anything. But I was gonna say, yes, I agree that Diddy has done some foul things, and he definitely should pay. But aside from Diddy and R. Kelly, all these other Caucasian men need to pay as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of them have been the ones that groomed the likes of Diddy and R. Kelly to do
Absolutely.
the things that they're doing.
Absolutely, but it's just what you said. They are what?
Cautious. That's my name for
Cajuns.
Caucasian now. Cautious. They cautious. One of my clients use that. I love the term. But okay, I know we got to get out of here with this. This is great because we have so much to talk about.
We really do. We really do.
It's not enough time in one episode, so we got this. Listen, keep laughing, keep loving,
Keep watching.
and we will see you next time.
And we will see you next time. 2 Divas.
One mic. Peace.